Well, is your Nick? Is your name Nick?
Yes.
Okay, Nick. I'm trying to get your side of the story, and by you acting like this, it's not helping, man. I got two sides, two stories, and I'm trying to just kind of find the middle ground.
Well, let me take your card, because I'm not doing an interview.
Huh?
What I'm going to tell you is this.
Well, I heard they're targeting your house.
Yes. I've been
about
harassed
social
for the past
media.
4 days.
Okay, and what is that about?
I posted a joke on the internet. I'm a live streamer.
You're like a YouTube channel? Or something?
Yeah.
You're saying you're a white supremacist?
I'm not a white supremacist. I'm Mexican. My last name's Fuentes.
I know. I kind of
white supremacist.
I saw the last.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, you know how this one.
Okay, so here we have a video of the Nick Fuentes after pepper spraying someone who came to his house. Don't go to people's houses, people. Come on, haven't you seen Begonia yet? There's other ways to handle your problems with the world. But I just wanted to point this video out because I'm not like a white supremacist or anything, but I do notice how if you are proud to be white, that is something that will make everyone else call you a white supremacist. And it just seems more indicative of how other races view white people more so than anything. Supremacy is bad. We shouldn't be. Supreme sucks. Fuck that brand. Fuck supremacy. All that, you know. But everyone else seems to be allowed to be proud of who they are and their ancestors, proud of where they came from and proud of what their ancestors did, except for the European Western native population, it seems like. And then you have some people like this who become very big, grifting to the forefront of the native population movements, if you want to call that, I don't know, America First, whatever. I'm not talking about the platform, but more so the ideological concept of if you're a politician that is running for any country, for that matter, and you don't think that your country's needs and the people who live in your country, the native population, should be taken care of first, then I just don't know if you should be a politician. Well, maybe you should because you do really well, but I don't think so. I don't think integrity-wise that you deserve to be running a country if your first and foremost thought is, how can we help a little country in the Middle East? What can we do for other countries around the world? How can we take our native population's tax dollars and productivity and just siphon it off to other countries? You know what? What would be better than that? We've already taken all their money. We've taken their freedoms. We've taken their assets. We've totally distorted the Constitution. We were just trying to just backpedal on everything. But what else can we take? We can take their sons and daughters and send them to war. You know, much love to all the veterans and whatnot. But it really seems like if after Vietnam, after World War II, but Vietnam especially, if you willingly join the military, it just doesn't seem like, I mean, maybe you get an inside look and maybe whatever, but it just doesn't seem like they're doing anything in the military to help us. It seems like it's a branch of another government, not based in the United States, and we're just a golem. The West is just a golem that this small esoteric culture uses to bash in its enemies' heads. Because in the past, whenever this small esoteric, maybe Middle Eastern country, but some say international, whenever they would get into a direct open conflict with nations, they would lose in a free battle and an open battlefield where you have to actually fight. They lose. Maybe it's their diets. Maybe it's their skills. I don't know. I don't know. What could I say? What can't I say? I don't know. But I just wanted to post this video for posterity. I think it's important. But let's watch it one more time. And I want you to watch Nick's wrists. Watch the way he talks with his hands. And then tell me that your gaydar doesn't go off just a little bit. Watch him talk with his hands. Let's check it out.
Find the middle ground.
Well, let me take your card, because I'm not doing an interview.
Huh?
What I'm going to tell you is this.
Well, I heard they're targeting your house.
Yes. I've been
about
harassed
social
for the past
media.
4 days.
Okay, and what is that about?
Now, that might be too subtle. Maybe I'm looking into things. Maybe I'm schizophrenic. I don't know. But if you watch any of his videos, especially his video after Charlie Kirk, he had a twinkle in his eye that was very bizarre. Very bizarre twinkle. very weird. All of it's weird, man. Everything's so weird. Why is this guy on Tucker Carlson? Why is this guy at the forefront of any kind of movement that would be beneficial to the actual people who live in America? Maybe he just read the room and is like, this officer is probably Hispanic, so I'm going to try to appeal to him. I don't know. But when push comes to shove, if you can't explain that you're not a white supremacist without saying, I'm not white, I'm not even a white guy. If you can't even do that, then maybe you shouldn't be at the forefront of this discussion. Maybe. Because it's a nuanced discussion. You know, it takes some skill to walk around these landmines on this topic. Like, I'm not supporting racism or whatever. What I'm more doing is trying to point out that in general, everybody seems racist. All races. If you can only imagine what other races think about you, that might help you put it into perspective. And then anytime somebody tries to bring up things about the differences in races and whatnot, you will get shut down so quickly. Like, oh no, it's been debunked, or how could you say that? And it seems like the gist of their reasoning is they assume just because you've suggested that there might be a difference, they automatically assume what you mean to do about that, what your solution might be, which it sounds like they hear you saying, well, we need white supremacy. That's what it is. We need to conquer the whole planet. That's the only way, because they're dumber than us, or they're not as capable, or blah, 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 blah. Instead of thinking about all the races as like different loadout class builds that have different perks and different whatevers, and they're useful in different situations. Instead of any of that, instead of having the Street Fighter II World Warrior, where each race has its own stereotype that's positive and fun and has its own, superpowers or special moves. Instead of thinking it like that, if you were to even suggest that there's a difference between, I don't know, an Aboriginal woman and a white European woman, it sounds like you must mean to be a supporter of colonialism and oppression. It sounds like everyone thinks that. It sounds like that. And I think that's just because of conditioning. We've just been conditioned our whole lives, and our parents have been conditioned. Our grandparents less so. They kind of shifted that Overton window when they realized that our grandparents probably weren't going to budge because of what they had seen, what they had gone through. But when you find out, like, Martin Luther King Jr. was actually a piece of shit. He was actually funded by communists, Marxists, or whatever the fuck. He cheated on his wife. He was a womanizer. Like, why is that guy? Why does he get boulevards named after him? Why does he get a holiday? Why? Because we've been conditioned to think certain really shallow thoughts about history and shallow thoughts about the reality of the world that we live in. And here we have somebody, his name's Nick Fuentes. He's getting more and more of a boost. They recently tried to attack him and say, oh, he's bad, he does this or whatever. And I don't care what they say about him. I know that the way they play ball, and you can see this really easily with Trump's campaign in 2016 and whatnot, is whenever the media attacks somebody, it really just boosts them. And you think the media hasn't figured that out by now? No, they know that. So what they do is they attack people that they want to boost for their counterintelligence programming, for their COINTELPRO, for the ops or whatever. So it feels like it's all a psyop to be able to sort of steer anyone who would reach any sort of reasonable conclusion about this data based on race and get them into associating with crowds of people that they control the narrative. For example, this guy right here makes the narrative look bad. He says some pretty spicy things. He often lacks the nuance about those topics specifically, and they're all buzzworthy, clip-worthy. They all can go viral or whatnot. But it seems like that's doing much more harm than good. It seems like this guy is not going to be the president. Well, he would make a good president because it seems like the last 80 presidents were all homosexuals. We haven't had 80 presidents, I know, but it seems like they've all been raging homosexuals. But I digress. I just wanted to post this video. I don't know if a lot of people have seen it, and I see countless of people that are red-pilled, that are whatever. I don't even know if that's the term anymore. What's the term? Are you awake to the... Nope, that's woke. No, I don't... What's the term? Do you understand the basics of logical deduction in regards to global populations? How about that? How about we'll say that? And most of those people who start to see that, like, history is kind of a giant psychological operation, that if you look at Hollywood, you look at any media, like, they have absolutely conditioned us, and it's gotten even more exaggerated in recent years. If you would watch movies about World War II that came out a couple, even 20 years, 30 years after World War II, there's nuance. They don't make the Germans look like comic book villains. But nowadays, when you see a movie about World War II, they really seem to make them look terrible. So I'm going to wrap it up there so you can see. You got this video of Nick. Here you go. Just my thoughts. Maybe you have different thoughts. Maybe you have evidence that he's not homosexual. I don't know. But it seems like my gaydar goes off a little too hard when I see this. I don't know. Maybe you talk with your hands that way. Maybe I talk with my hands that way. I'm gonna have to check myself. I'm gonna have to look. But either way, I don't think a Mexican should be in charge of America first. That's just me. If a self-proclaimed Mexican shouldn't, I don't know. You know, we got a whole bunch of narratives about who a real American is. Is it the culture? Is it the whatnot? Is it the whatever? I'm just remembering the Alamo, okay? I just didn't forget. I didn't forget the Titans, and I didn't forget the Alamo. So I'm you know, there's nuance here. I remember the Titans and how they got the whites and the blacks to come together, you know, and work together as a team. I don't think they won. I forget if they won or not. Was it Coach Carter where they lost? And then it was about the life lessons they learned. I can't remember. I think their best player got hit by a car or drunk driving accident or something stupid. Don't drink, guys. Don't drink. Drinking's bad. But yeah, here's a video. I don't know. There'll be more videos. I just don't like this nigga. You see? You know what? I don't even know. I'm gonna write out a script next time, and we'll have a little more whatever. So take it all with a grain of salt, you know. Don't be racist towards people, but don't let that idea make you stop logical deductions on basic scientific facts. It's very hard to talk about this topic, so I hope you understand. It's a very nuanced thing. Yeah. Fatigue. Maybe you have it. Maybe we all do. Maybe they have it. Maybe there are some thoughts that if you were a king or a leader or something along those lines, you would have to wrestle with some of these potential realities because you need all the information available to you so that you can make the best choice, the best decisions for your cause, whatever, your people. And to ignore those things or to accept the conditioning that we've been put under as fact is not going to do us any favors. It just doesn't seem like it. So I'm not promoting anything. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying that. But I am pointing out, if you take it with a grain of salt, this is a pretty bad look for a guy who seems to be a proud white supremacist. I don't know. It'd be like when that Dave Chappelle skit about the blind guy who joined, the black blind guy who joined the KKK. All right. Let's have a good day. Everyone, be a good person. Don't be mean. Peace. Call your mom.